2306.
The part of the.
And it increases along with all of the status quo.
You're right.
It doesn't mention it at all. That I say.
Based on the argument.
All right, well, wait 1 minute. Now that everybody's here, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Will the township clerk please read the statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 6, 2023, and was posted at the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, JSA 10:4-7.
Okay, thank you. Please join me as we salute our flag. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember DeStacy,
Here.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Here.
Councilmember Sparta,
Present.
Councilmember Chadwick,
Here, Joe.
Here, sorry.
Okay,
Council President Bucieri.
here. Before we go to item 5, I just would like our attorney, Mr. Zelinski, to just address some news that we just received. We could do that quickly.
Sure, thank
Thank
you. I believe you're referring to the decision in the Vernon Township and Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority versus Sussex County Municipal Utilities Authority case. As the public and members of the council may recall, Vernon Township had filed a suit against SCUMA, asserting that SCUMA's method of charging Vernon Township was not uniform as required by the controlling statutes. The trial court dismissed Vernon Township's complaint, finding that it was time barred and that it sought to challenge a 2005 and 2008 bond ordinance. Vernon Township took an appeal disagreeing with the trial court's decision. Unfortunately, today we received the written decision from the appellate division affirming the trial court, and in its decision, the appellate division agreed with the trial court that the challenge to the SCUMA contract and the SCUMA rates was time barred because in the court's view, Vernon Township was seeking to challenge the 2005 and 2008 bond ordinance. Vernon Township raised several other arguments before the trial court and appellate division. The appellate division ended their opinion stating they would not consider those arguments at all. And unfortunately, this leaves Vernon Township with a contract with SCUMA that requires it to pay significantly more for waste than other municipalities. And to the extent the township still would like to obtain relief from that contract, that would have to be done through negotiations and not through the court system.
Ms. Bright, do you have anything?
Excuse me. May I have a moment, please? I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. Before I do, I'd like to bring to the public's attention the passing of a good friend of mine and a long-serving public servant in the township. John McGowan passed away on Valentine's Day. He was a friend that I went to college with, although I didn't know him in college, but our relationship went back that far. But our friendship was easily 40, 45 years. I lost count. And during that time, he served 31 years as a member of the Board of Education. I think I checked back and I wasn't able to find anyone who served continuous service that long. Yeah. He did have some very close elections, but inevitably he prevailed. He led the Board of Education through some very sticky years. I don't know if any of you recall, there was some type of a bomb situation that turned out to be really nothing, but created an issue in the press, and John navigated the board through that very well, and we didn't have any major bad press situations. Was a great supporter of our athletic program up there. Not frequently, almost daily, he was up there giving support to football, basketball, baseball, track, soccer. It didn't matter. If our kids were playing, John was there. And he was a good friend, a very good friend, and I'd like to ask for a moment of silence on his passing. Thank you.
For sharing that, Mr. Rizzuto. Definitely a loss for our community. Getting back to the lawsuit decision, do you have anything you want to add, right, before we move on?
I can add that I believe it's very unfortunate financially for Vernon Township. Essentially, I think the whole thing that was missed by the court was that there are 3 parts to every SCUMA bill. So there's the bonds, which is what was mentioned in this ruling. There's the general capital charge, which was mentioned in this ruling. And then there's the treatment of sewage flows, which was lacking in this ruling. Our argument from the beginning has been about treatment of sewage flows. Essentially what happens is that Vernon Township has a much higher minimum flow guarantee, which is nowhere near our existing flows for the sewer system. And that results in Vernon subsidizing 2 of the larger flow municipalities in the Upper Wallkill region. So, we pay anywhere from 10 to 15% more on average to treat our sewer flows.
All right, thank you. And I did, before we get to public comments, I did have one quick comment. The mayor, our tax assessor, Ms. Umansky, the council, we, all heard concerns expressed by citizens over the course of the past several weeks. And I just wanted to just announce that the mayor has been working with Ms. Umansky. Ms. Umansky has provided different dates that she and the county tax assessor are available to offer a town hall type council meeting where the tax assessor will be able to answer questions, explain the process. Community members can come in and ask questions. So we are finalizing those details, trying to the schedule of the administration, the tax assessor, the county tax assessor, and the council's schedule, finding a date where we can have that meeting. It is slated to happen in March. Once we have that, obviously it'll be noticed, but it is something that I just wanted to, let the community know that we've definitely want to answer questions, explain the process. And we have some questions, it was, some of council members have brought up. So that is something that we will be able to schedule hopefully soon. And I know council members have gotten emails from Ms. Umansky with some dates. So let's, when you're able to get back to her and let her know, we'll get that on the calendar.
Madam President, I'd just like to say we've had 2 of those before, one in 21 and one in 22. We had them here on Zoom and in person. The largest number of individuals that we've had was 6.
Okay.
That includes me and others. But there's been some more intense questions. So it's my really hope that a large number of individuals will attend these meetings.
I hope so too.
And we'll be here.
Yeah, I hope we get a large.
Yeah, I hope we have a very,
involvement.
very large turnout.
That would be great. Definitely. Thank you. Okay, public comments. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes per person on current agenda items. And if you could, when you come forward, state your name and sign in, and then just let us know which agenda item you're referencing. May I have a motion to open the floor to public comments, please?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Sassy. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Is there anyone that would like to come forward and address any issues on the agenda?
Good evening, everybody. Mike Fury, 44 Sand Hill Road. Hope everybody's doing well. I wanted to, although it was, I think it's disappointing, the decision for the MUA. When I was on the MUA and on the council, we felt strongly that it was worth pursuing for the taxpayers and the ratepayers. It's unfortunate the decision didn't go into our favor. I wanted to talk about the presentation by Representative Josh Gottheimer, the $3.4 million that the township received. I think it's a great thing for the township. I've been working with towns all across the state and working on getting funding for Board of Eds, townships, and this is a pretty significant contribution to the water and sewer system. So we should be pretty happy that and we should, hopefully we could pursue more of those grant opportunities. That combined with the $2.2 million, hopefully we can do something about the infrastructure. I wanted to mention, the reason I'm coming up here, I wanted to comment on resolution. I'll get this one right, 2369 for the resolution for appointment to the town MUA. I wanted to mention to everybody, I highly recommend Kristen Wheaton. I worked with her on the MUA and I've known Kristen for a number of years. She's an excellent engineer. She's been working in the water and wastewater business for a number of years. I've been there for a couple of years with Kristen. She has some excellent ideas. I really hope that you consider her for the position to get reappointed. She spent a number of years on the MUA and she really did make a difference. I also wanted to mention that I put in an application for the MUA, and this is for the position that Andy Pitzker resigned from. Andy Pitzker did a great job. I also worked. We started the same day on the MUA. He did an excellent job on the MUA. We're really going to miss him. He really contributed a lot to the MUA financially. His financial skills, his engineering skills. And we're gonna sorely miss him. So hopefully you do consider me for that position. And I just want to thank everybody for their service, Mayor, Council. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else in person that would like to be on an agenda item? Do we have anybody virtually?
I have no hands up. Oh, I'm sorry. One just went up. Jesse Palladini.
Okay.
Good evening.
Palladini.
Good evening. First, I want to say I'm so very sorry to hear about John McGowan. He was a friend of mine as well. Certainly not at all of the caliber that he was with Pat. And Pat, I want to say that I remember seeing you and John together 35 years ago on the football field. Every time I went for my children's games or for the high school games, you two were always there. John was an exemplary board member, and I do believe he was the longest running board member on the BOE, sorry. I don't see a resolution for a grant for the Green Acres grant tonight, and maybe you do have one. But I'm a little disappointed if you don't, because I did a lot of research for that grant. I spoke with Green Acres. I found out all of the information. It was passed on to all of the council members. And I was very clear to say that the deadline is March 1st. So there's a very aggressive deadline here. And the pressing thing is that you must have a public hearing and you must have an approved resolution by March 1st when you apply for that grant. So I'm hoping you do that tonight, because I just don't see how it can be done at your next meeting. Next, I want to say that I think that everybody in the whole world, except for maybe Harry Shortway, Mike Fury, and the lawyers who are profiting from the lawsuit against the SCMUA, knew that Vernon would lose that lawsuit. I think to say that Vernon pays significantly more than other municipalities. I think you're talking apples and oranges. Remember, I was the MUA recording secretary for 8 years. So I'm a little bit informed on what's going on there. What I'd like to know is how much taxpayer money did Harry Shortway and Mike Fury waste on not only the lawsuit, but then the frivolous appeal. So that's something I will put in an Oprah for tomorrow, and I'd like the CFO to get that information for me, please. I think that's it, but let me just take a look. Oh, that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, Marcy? Julie? I don't have any hands up right now.
Okay, all right. Can I have a motion to close the floor to public comment?
Moved.
Okay, Brad Sparta. Can I have a second? Second, Mr. Stassi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, seeing none opposed. We have next on the agenda, item for discussion, the Green Acres Grant. I think each council member has that information on their by their spot, if you want to look at it with any questions. I did speak to Ms. Bright and our clerk and just ask them to review it and hopefully you start the discussion with your thoughts on the grant application, timelines, if it's applicable, you know, if it's something that Vernon would qualify for. So I don't know if we have, and we did get an email too. Did everyone on the council receive an email from Marcy? Okay. Do you have anything that you wanted to start us off with?
Let me,
Or Mayor? Okay.
yes, let me.
Okay.
Because we've talked
I
extensively
know you've talked about it, yeah.
about this.
Hear your thoughts.
You know, based on the email thread that was made available to me, this discussion of a possible Green Acres grant is on tonight's agenda because a resident believes that a specific Green Acres grant can be used to help finance the building of a band shell that's being promoted by one of our council members. At my instruction, Acting Business Administrator Bright obtained an actual copy of the application for what is being described as the Green Acres grant. A review of this application reveals that the potential funds that are available are actually through the Green Acres Local and Nonprofit Assistance Program that has an application which numbers 68 pages, and it also has a submission deadline of March the 1st. You know, while the effective and efficient use of the municipality's limited human and time resources have not allowed us to make a complete detailed review of the full 58 pages of this very long and detailed grant application, what we've learned is the following, and this is what I'd like to share. Number one, this application divides eligible municipal fund recipients into 4 categories and awards funds in the following priority order. First, highly populated municipalities. These are municipalities with a population of 35,000 residents or more. Vernon does not qualify in this top priority category because our population is approximately 23,000 and it falls about 10,000 residents short. Second is what they call densely populated municipalities. These are municipalities with a population density of 5,000 more residents per square mile. Vernon does not qualify in this second priority category because our population density is just 330 residents per square mile. Third is what they call urban aid municipalities. These are municipalities that qualify to receive a specific type of state aid. Vernon does not qualify in this third priority category. And fourth are what is defined as standard municipalities, which are all municipalities that don't fall in the other 3 categories. And this is the category in which Vernon falls. Municipalities that fall in this 4th priority category are eligible not for outright grants, but for low interest loans that must be paid back over a 20-year period of time. A municipality's application for this low interest loan must be accompanied not just by a resolution that's approved by the municipal council, but also by a host of critical items such as project narrative outline, an environmental assessment, including an environmental impact analysis, a project concept plan with mapping, including GIS mapping of nearby wetlands, an anticipated project completion date, and documentation of a public hearing of the project. This is just to name a few. Taxpayer costs associated with meeting some of these requirements that are needed as part of just the grant application, such as the cost for an environmental assessment, including an environmental impact analysis, and the cost of a professionally prepared project concept plan with mapping. These and other types of taxpayer costs associated with simply filing the application for this loan might even exceed the value of any low interest loan that we might even receive. In conclusion, Council and Madam President, based on what we've learned thus far, leads me to believe that spending any of the municipality's human and time resources on applying for this loan would be a loan, not a grant, would not necessarily be a wise use of taxpayer funds. That's my summary of what I concluded.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I don't know if any council members have any questions about what the mayor said, or maybe what Marcy had shared in her email with us. I just want to clarify, it looks like for both the park development application and the urban parks application, the resolution cannot be approved until after the public hearing? Is that what?
Yeah, I did not go into.
That's what you had
Yeah,
noted, Marcy.
be at the same meeting, but the public hearing has to be first.
The public hearing has to be, so
Yeah, there's-
we can approve a resolution. Okay, and you have a page cited. That's noted on page 56 through 57 on the urban parks application. So we haven't had a public hearing, so we can't. So what you're saying is we can't have a resolution until we have a public hearing. Public hearing. Requirement. Okay, so if the governing body voted on the enabling resolution at the same public meeting, the vote on the resolution took place after the public hearing was held. So you could have it at the same meeting, but you'd have to notice the public hearing and then vote on the resolution after. Okay, that makes sense. And that's the same for both. But the other question, I just want to make sure I understand, we don't qualify for a grant because we don't fit into buckets 1, 2, or 3.
Because of those categories.
We are in bucket 4.
Right.
Which means we qualify for a low interest.
Low interest loan that must be paid back over 20 years.
Okay.
But even just
That's for both of these? Or we don't even qualify for urban?
We wouldn't qualify for
Urban parks, we don't even qualify at all. Okay, so take that off the table. Okay,
What would be the interest rate on the loan?
2%.
2%.
Cheap money.
Yeah, it's a low interest loan.
hello.
If you had a huge project, because I'm not really so sure what environmental asset assessment, someone would have to be professional to do that. I'm not so sure what that kind of thing would cost. This GIS mapping, I just don't know.
There are a number of items that require professional services.
Required items, application form, environmental impact assessment, governing body resolution, anticipated project schedule, units and quantities cost estimate. Is this a yearly grant to know? Or just, Marcy, does anybody know? Does this grant come out yearly?
As far as I know, it's an annual.
It's an annual grant. So if it's something that in the future we wanted to work towards, we would have the opportunity to do that in 2024.
Yes.
Okay. That's good information. Thank you, Mayor and Marcy and Danelle for, kind of putting that together in an easy understand on that. Does anybody else have any questions or comments about that? No? All right, let's move on to the bills list. Every member has received a copy of the bills list. Anybody have any questions or comments about that before we move on?
I have a couple, but they revolve around the same description. Excuse me. Danelle, 59 148. There's a lot of entries in here that are just attributed to fleet. And they all start with 22s, but the numbers after that change. Those numbers after that, are they attributed to a certain piece of equipment or
No, those are purchase order numbers.
their purchase order numbers? Okay,
Yeah.
so
This one, 22-00814, that was a fleet item that it was a capital item that was paid for in that. And we are moving forward for 2023. We're including more descriptive things. I think we spoke about that.
okay, that's
For 2023 purchase orders, we would be a little bit more descriptive in
just because like
descriptions.
on 59-106, obviously it must be for tires or something. Because it's also attributed to fleet as well.
Correct.
So we're gonna, going forward in 23, have something more descriptive after.
Yeah, a little bit more of a description in there. So in our system, there's only a certain number of characters that we can fit into the description.
Mm.
So a lot of the purchase orders are blanket purchase orders. So we might have a blanket purchase order with Bridgestone for the purchase of tires or other equipment, right? So when we set it up originally in the past for years, they've just said blanket purchase order for the fleet for fleet. Because we do have, if we use McAfee, we might have a fleet PO for them. We might have a roads PO for them in the buildings. So they separate them out that way. But I have reached out to the department heads to ensure that we have more description for 2023.
Do we have any way to track how much each piece of equipment or vehicle is costing us over time? So we know if it's time to put it out for sale and
So
get new or.
So there are a couple of things that we've done in the past few years with our like vehicles. So we're on a program now for vehicles that do not require a CDL. The ones that do require CDL, they last a longer time, so that's a larger investment. But the ones that do not require CDL, we work with Enterprise. So you'll see on the bills list, Enterprise Fleet Program. What we do is we're on for the DPW vehicles, those are on a 5-year rotation, and the police vehicles are on a 4-year rotation. So in the past, the township had bonded those items.
Mhm.
And that's not a good idea because those vehicles do not last that long. So what we did was we worked with Enterprise and we worked with our fleet department and the police department to figure out a good timeline of when those vehicles should be turned over to get the best resale value on it that could then go back into our program and reduce our costs over time.
Yeah.
So fleet keeps track of things like that. I don't have it on the financial
Understood.
keep track of that, but they do have, they keep track of how much things cost over time for each vehicle.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions about the bills list? No? Good. Okay, let's move on to the next item. Everyone's received the minutes for the January 23rd regular meeting. Have a chance to do it. May I have a motion to approve? Does anybody have any corrections or changes before we do that? Yep, okay. I have a motion to approve the January 23rd, 2023 meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
For Sparta first, may I have a second? You can make a motion though. I think so, right? Can you make a motion?
Well, she wasn't here.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second by Mr. Rizzuto. Okay, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Would I include,
can abstain.
Distassi?
Yeah, she'll abstain.
Councilmember Distassi?
Oh,
Abstain.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
yes,
Councilmember Sparta?
Yes.
Councilmember Taverick?
Abstain.
Council President Bucieri?
yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. We have our consent agenda. Resolution 23 through resolution 371. Are there any suggestions that anyone would like to have put out of the consent agenda? I actually have two. I'd like to pull out 2369 and 2371. Kathy, is there any?
No.
One point. Okay, we're all good. Okay. let's do. The ones we pulled out first. Or is that
Sure,
better?
you can do it either way.
I can do either way, okay. So let's do the consent agenda first, okay. Resolution 2361, authorize award of a required disclosure contract from Granicus for compliance software. Resolution 2362, emergency temporary appropriations. Resolution 2363, a resolution approving participation with the State of New Jersey Federal Grant Program administered by the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General. Resolution 2364, approving a charitable solicitor's permit, Vernon Township Fire Department. Resolution 2365, authorizing contracts with certain approved state contract vendors, AAA, Emergency Supply Company, Inc., for purchase of volunteer fire department gear. Resolution 2366, authorizing the release of performance bond from Veolia North America, formerly Suez Water, New Jersey, for service connection investigation within Vernon Township. Resolution 2367, resolution authorizing the sale of surplus vehicles or equipment no longer needed for public use on an online auction website. Resolution 2368, approving active volunteer firefighter for membership in the New Jersey State Firemen's Association, Hasnanecki. Resolution 2370, approving a charitable solicitor's permit, Glenwood Potuck Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Inc. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make that motion.
Okay, motion made by Ms. DeStacy. May I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mr. Sparta. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember DeStacy,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick,
Yes.
Council President Lucieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
So now we'll go to resolution 2369. That out. Resolution, appointment to the Vernon Township Municipal Authority. This is for the appointment that expired on January 31st, 2023.
I'm sorry, Council President. Edward DeYoung should not be on here. He's on the number
171.
7 day.
I'm on.
It's on 2371.
He's on 23.
I'm 2371, I'm sorry.
I'm doing 2369.
Yes, I have him on my copy. I'm not sure if you,
Oh, okay, let me look and see. So I
Mine's back
have,
now.
mine's,
Yeah, mine is Xed out.
yeah, it's Xed out. It just says seat 4.
okay, I'm
Was
sorry.
seat 4, Kristen Wheaton's expired seat.
Yes.
Is that the correct seat? Okay, I just want to make sure. So that was expired on January 31st, 2023. We received 2 letters of interest. Mr. Sean Clarkin submitted a volunteer application and Ms. Kristen Wheaton submitted a volunteer application. I just wanted to acknowledge that we did receive those applications and just really appreciate that. We have community members that are willing to volunteer their time, not a paid position, and do that just for our community. So I really appreciate that. I'd like to take a nomination to fill seat 4 for the Vernon Township Municipal Authority. Does anyone want to make a nomination for that?
I'll nominate Kristen Reed.
Okay, can I have a second? Anyone want to second that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. Anyone want to make any other nominations? Okay. All right, can I have a roll call vote, Marcy?
Yes. Councilmember DeStacy,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
No.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick,
No.
Council President Lucieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Kristen?
Thank you, Ms. Wheaton. And resolution 2371, resolution appointment to the Vernon Township Municipal Authority. This is, I'm sorry, 2371. I might have said that wrong. This is a resolution to appoint Mr. Ed DeYoung to seat 5 with an expiring term of January 31st, 2026. Can I have a motion for resolution 2371?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Rizzuto. Can I have a second?
Yes.
Second by Ms. DeStacy. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Councilmember DeStacy,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tabrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. DeYoung. The willingness to support. We have the introduction of ordinance 2305, ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, to repeal and replace Chapter 170 of the Municipal Code entitled Cable, Television, and Communications, and to grant municipal consent for the operation of a cable television system within the Township of Vernon, New Jersey, to CSC TKR LLC. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2305?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Sparta, thank you. Second by Mr. Stafford. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember DeStacy, Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Member Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tabrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Carries.
Okay. Ordinance 2306, ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 5, Article 10, entitled Department of Public Works, to create the position of Assistant Director of Public Works and Director of Automotive Services. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2306?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Ms. DeStacy made the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember DeStacy,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tabrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, now we have a public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 2302. An ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, vacating a portion of the paper street known as Road B in the Township of Vernon. May I have a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance 2302?
I'll make the motion to open.
Okay. Ms. DeStacy made the motion. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the floor is open. If any members of the public would like to come forward and address ordinance 2302. Is there anybody virtually who would like to make any comments?
I don't have any hands up right now.
Okay, seeing no members of the public wishing to come forward, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Ordinance 20, okay, motion by Mr. Sparta. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. DeStacy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2302? Oh, sure, go right
Can
ahead.
I vote on this since I wasn't here for the first introduction?
That decision is yours to make, whether you feel you have enough knowledge based on your awareness of public matters and participation in meetings, vote or not.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Councilmember DeStacy,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tabrick,
Yes.
Council President Bushieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ordinance 2303, an ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 250 of the Municipal Code of the Township of Vernon entitled Fees and Escrows Enumerated to update Police Department fees. May I have a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance 2303?
Move.
Motion made by Mr. Sparta. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. DeStacy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Floor is open. The floor is open. Does anyone from the public want to comment on ordinance 2303? Anybody virtually want to speak?
I have no hands up right now.
Okay, seeing no members of the public wishing to come forward, may I have a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 2303?
Motion.
By Mr. Sparta, second. Second by Ms. DeStacy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. Public comment. May I have a motion? Oh, no, we didn't. We just voted to close the
Okay.
floor. Sorry. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2303?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. DeStacy. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember DeStacy,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick,
Yes.
Council President Lucieri.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, public comment. Please note, public comments are limited to 5 minutes per person, and this can be on any topic, does not have to be an agenda item. Please come forward when you're ready to speak and state your name and fill out the paper on the clipboard. May I have a motion to open the floor to public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. DeStacy, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparta. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, the floor is open. If anyone in public wishes to come forward? Go ahead, come on up. Hello.
Michael Curricello, 51 Lakeside Drive. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
What my notes, I'm getting old.
Y'all are.
Today I want to touch base on taxes. It's going wild on Facebook, as you can see. A lot of misinformation going on. A lot of people are not, I'm just surprised to see a lot of people are not educated in knowing their property taxes and how it works. And it's, you know, and when I have these discussions with people, I'm like, listen, you know, state constitution, Article 8 tells you everything you need to know about your property. Title 54 of the state statutes, Division of Taxation tells you everything about property taxes, and people fail to research that, and I think that this meeting coming up is a necessity. A lot of people like to bear the burden on the mayor and council for their taxes going up, you know, and that's not always the case because it's not your fault. It's handled at the county level because they have the equalization valuation that they determine that, or better known as a director's ratio. Well, I would like to see all of us as a community stick together, cohesion, and light a flame under their tush and say, wait, listen, we need some transparency on this. Why are these valuations just going up? And what format, what formula are you using for this? And I guess a lot of people, like last tax quarter, everybody's like, wow, well, you know, my assessment went up, but my taxes went down. Well, look at your tax rate. Simple as that. Look at your tax rate. Your tax rate went down. It's because your council fought with you. They lowered the tax rate. But a lot of people are going around Facebook saying, well, you know, we should visit the assessment cycle. Well, it doesn't solve anything. And we got to get that message out because, you know, if you want to sit there and do a 5-year assessment cycle, well, you know, the town has to generate its revenues. So the tax rate's going to go up every 5 years, like in that 5-year period until the assessment hits, and you'll be hit even more probably. So there's a lot of misinformation in that as well, that you know, compromising a assessment cycle is going to solve all our problems, and it's not. You know, what's going to solve problems is better budgeting, is everyone here meeting with the school council, getting on them. Hey, what's the transparency on your budget? You know, Marty O'Donnell today from the school board, he resigned. He resigned because he sat there and he said, hey, listen, there's a lot of extracurricular activities that are going on and the retention rate is so low. Why are we spending money on this? Could we just reevaluate it? And Ed got frustrated and finally said, I'm out of here. And they didn't even comment. The Board of Ed didn't even make a comment on that for someone who's sitting there doing their job and looking out for the public. He got frustrated. He got up and left. I don't blame the guy, but at the same time, you shouldn't turn your back on it. You should keep on attacking. I think mayor and council should get on the school board and say, hey, listen, we want some transparency. You know, we want to see that budget. You know, we want to see that budget. What's going on here? Have some transparency. We go to the county, we take it to the county and say, hey, listen, what is going on here with the County Board of Taxation? Why are these equalization values going insane here? Is that everybody's assessment's going up? And that's one of the components is the county, is a tax rate that makes your property taxes. It's one of many components. You know, the budget that the municipality has to meet for that year, you know, per se as well, that gets factored in, school budget gets factored in. I mean, approximately 60% of the school budget of our municipal taxes goes to the school budget. And, you know, about $1,000 to the county, about $1,200. I'm just making rough estimate goes to the municipality. Well, hey, my municipal taxes are cheap. 1,000 something, you know, you break it down, you got to look at your tax record. But I read an interesting article. It's dated January 2nd. Derek Hall from NewJersey.com wrote, property taxes could take a rise under this new bill S3380. Bill to remove current municipal appropriation cap. Council, Mayor, would you wish to comment on that bill in regards to the removal that they may pass of removing the current municipal appropriation cap, which allows the municipality to exceed their spending caps and could potentially raise the tax rate. So I'd like your input. I'd like your comment on that. And if this does pass, what are your intentions? Because, you know, I'm a taxpayer, I'm a resident, so I'd like to hold my elected officials accountable. I'd like to hear what they got to say and what's on their mind.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else from the public that has a comment?
Hi, I'm Stephanie from Glenwood. I just had a question about Robert's rules. Just correct me if I'm wrong, because I was reading about it and I thought when the vote took place last week, the way I understood it, to abstain, I think Mr. Stassi had abstained.
Which vote are you referring to?
The vote regarding the resolution for the cannabis.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I understood you correctly, you told us that to abstain was a yes.
The way the township code addresses abstention votes, not Robert's rules, but the town code, Mrs. DeStassi's abstention is a yes.
Okay, so we decided that. Well,
The
township
the town council in its town code has put regulations in with respect to how abstention votes are counted on matters.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure. And can you tell us how much that appeal cost for the MUA? Thought you might know.
And I would have to look it up.
Okay. Just curious, because that was ruled with prejudice. So why we even attempted to appeal that? It just seems like it was money out the window. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members in person that would like to make a comment? Well.
My name is Sean Clarkin. I live at 41 Tanglewood Drive up in the Barry Lake section. The agreement between Vernon MUA and SCUMA when we're finding out how much the lawsuit was, could you also publicly make it available to us to know when this agreement expires?
It is public information. You can put an Oprah request for it, right?
You have to do Oprah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else that has any comments in person? Is there any virtual comments, Marcy?
Yes, Jesse Palladini.
Okay, Mrs. Palladini?
Yes, hi again. I just want to make something clear to the gentleman who spoke before, Mike Chiricella, I believe his name is. He's running for mayor. Nice to meet you in person. This is not about the council. It's not about blaming the council for the tax assessments. It's not about having the county come in and explain the process to us. We already know the process. Last night, we had a very, very good and informative meeting of 32 residents and a tax expert. And the things that we found out were staggering. People who have been paying, since this program began, mind you, people who have been paying for 4-bedroom homes, full basement, full attic, and they have none of those things. This is about all of the errors and injustices that this assessment company is perpetrating on Vernon residents. Mike said, you know, it has nothing to do with the assessment or the council or this or that. We know that. We're not blaming any of you, but we are telling you that there are huge problems and huge errors with it. While I'm on that subject, I want to quickly say that on Sunday, there was a Facebook post that a member of the public, Sally Rinker, was going to request a formal presentation of the council. And within hours, she posted, great news. The council has agreed to have a public forum in March, and they're bringing the county in. I want to know which one of you on a Sunday, possibly through email, made that decision outside of the Open Public Meetings Act to schedule that meeting. That's very alarming, because that is in total violation of the Open Public Meetings Act that you made that decision as a council on a Sunday, and that's all in writing. So I am going to be investigating who exactly made that decision outside of a council meeting. And lastly, I just want to say that 2 representatives from Green Acres, including the specific one who is the representative for Sussex County, and a representative from the New Jersey Historic Preservation Trust, must either be lying or does not know her job. Because frankly, I don't even think you were looking up the right grant. I get it, that it's a very strict timeline to get it done by March 1st. And that's why I was very specific to include everything and say, look, you need to get this done. And if you could do the resolution on the same day of the public hearing, that's all well and good too. Look, I understand that it has to be done quickly. And I understand that in decades, we have not been able to find one municipal employee who can write grants. But to say that we don't qualify for this is absolutely incorrect. So you are either looking at the wrong grant, or the mayor is so determined not to ever let Jesse Palladini do anything to help this town. But you know what? Hey, it really means nothing to me. I'm just trying to help the town, but I will not waste my time any longer. But you might want to look into it yourself, because the information that I got from 3 different people, as I said, they're either lying or they don't know their jobs. And they said that we can apply for up to $50,000 And they also said that we could get matching grants from the county open space funds. Yes, there is an urban community grant that has nothing to do with the one that I researched. So as
10 seconds.
okay, I'm done. I'm done. As I said before, it really means nothing to me. I am happy to not waste my time to help the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else virtually, Marcy?
Yes, Mark Hepler.
Okay, Mr. Hepler?
Yes, good evening, members of the council, mayor. As always, thank you for your service, and council member DeStasi, welcome to the dais. It's something that Mike said about the assessments, I think is really important, whether or not the entirety is entirely accurate or not. Something that's very important is that the tax assessment cannot be viewed in a vacuum, right? Our property assessment is only about 1/3 of the piece of the puzzle. And the other really important part is the municipal budget, which brings me to ordinance number 23-06 that was raised tonight. I know that that will be on for its second hearing and there will be public comment during that time. But as I read the ordinance, it looks like that will be creating 2 new positions. And I'm not sure the entirety of the why of that. So hopefully that will be discussed in some detail, because some of this seems like like a middle management type role, and I'm all for middle management, but sometimes a flat management structure is better and more efficient and certainly more cost effective. So it'll be very interesting to hear at the next council meeting the purpose behind the ordinance, the costs, the benefits, the business case for it, because if we can keep our budget to 2 less new roles, that would probably help keep things down and help keep the tax rate down as well. At least one would hope. So that's it for this evening. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Mr. Hepler. Danelle, I did ask you about this ordinance. Do you want to just quickly?
Yeah, so just real quick. So Vernon Township is governed by civil service. We're a civil service town. So civil service determines specific titles for specific duties and roles that are in the township. The 2 positions that are here, or I should say the original 2 positions that were created for the township are assistant supervisor and supervising mechanic in the Department of Public Works. 2 of those 2 positions have historically acted in these actual roles with these specific job duties. So when the township created these positions, they did not use the correct civil service titles.
Yeah.
So we're mandated, if a specific position is doing specific job duties and is responsible for that, it should be the correct civil service title. Essentially, what we're doing is renaming these and putting the correct civil service title in them.
So we're not creating 2 new positions. We're just renaming 2 positions we currently have. So hopefully I understand your question, Mr. Heffler. Hopefully that answers it. Thank you.
Yes, that certainly does. If the titles are just being changed, that certainly makes it a lot more palatable.
Thank you for your question. Is there anybody else, Marcy?
I do not have any other hands up right now.
All right, last call. Can I have a motion to close the floor to public comment?
Make that motion.
Ms. DeStasi, can I have a second?
Move.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll move on to mayor's comments.
Thank you, Council President Bucieri. Now, in this good and special town in which we live, we are fortunate to have a constant group of individuals who are interested in and who are willing to step forward to volunteer to serve on various boards, committees, and on commissions. And on tonight, I gladly appoint 2 such individuals who have appealed to me to appoint them to serve on the Economic Development Advisory Committee. These individuals are Ms. Heidi Labris and Mr. Peter Knight. I thank them both for volunteering. I also take this opportunity to make a key and quite frankly, a critical appointment to the Sussex County Water Quality Policy Advisory Committee. This committee serves as the water quality planning agency for our entire county on matters covered by the National Clean Water Act. This committee is specifically responsible for preparing the Sussex County Wastewater Management Plan, which enables sewer service areas and identifies wastewater facilities. Sorry. The plan prepared by this committee plays a significant role in shaping development and in determining future growth patterns in Vernon and other Sussex County municipalities. This committee's membership is composed of representatives from each Sussex County municipality. A key responsibility of Vernon's representative will be to ensure that our municipality's voice is heard regarding matters that are critical to our water quality and our sewer wastewater issues. Because of the important role played by this committee, I have thought long and hard about who I would appoint to be Vernon's representative. And my due diligence has led me to appointing Mr. Michael Ferry to be the voice of Vernon on this committee. Now, I chose to appoint Mr. Ferry not only because of the fact that his educational achievement of a BS degree in chemistry has specifically prepared him well to be able to understand and deal with the technical matters that are routinely considered by this committee, but also because the practical experience that he has gained from his service as the past chair of Vernon's Environmental Commission and the past chair of Vernon's Municipal Utility Authority, plus his pertinent work experience as a supervising chemist for the North Jersey District Water Supply Commission, and his 20+ years as the owner-operator of agro-environmental and laboratory services. Mr. Ferry's appointment to this very important committee is part of my ongoing commitment to move Vernon forward by doing everything that I can to ensure that at all levels, Vernon Township is representative and served by high quality and dedicated individuals. My final comment tonight relates to the fact that, whenever I meet with other Sussex County mayors or when residents of other towns visit Vernon, be they sports teams or individuals or groups like those who have visited our town frequently to participate in events such as our senior citizens exercise program. We have a lot of out-of-town people who do that. Our annual 5K races, our yoga and archery programs, and etc. I get repeated positive comments about the many family-oriented recreation department sponsored and facilitated events in our town. And most important to me is when I get these same kind of positive comments from a large and growing number of Vernon residents. These comments fill my heart with pride. And because of the fact that they are confirmations of the fact that the mayor and the council are successfully working together to move Vernon forward towards being an even better town in which to live and raise a family. And when I actually tell these other mayors that we offer these large variety of high quality recreation and community activities through a small staff consisting of just 2 full-time and 1 part-time individual who does all of the planning, organizing, directing, and coordinating of these programs and activities through a large network of volunteers and our PAL partners. When I tell them this, they are simply amazed. I explained to them that this is just one indication of the high degree of pride that we in Vernon have for our town. On tonight, I announce a new resource that our Director of Recreation and Community Affairs, Mrs. Michelle Downtain, has launched to support the efforts of the many volunteers who are the backbone of our recreation and community activities. This new resource is a monthly recreation newsletter. And members of the council, I'll pass out to you. I've got copies for each one of you. This is a new recreation newsletter. It will showcase the events and local happenings around the town and will provide information on upcoming events in our town. Director Downtain created this recreation newsletter by using the skills and talents of her assistant, Miss Meg Wanon, who applied her graphic design and advertising formal education, which she fine-tuned and enhanced during her 10 years of media marketing in corporate America. I'd like to thank them both. This new recreation newsletter will be published under the monthly newsletter tab that's on our municipal website. Issue number 1 is on the website now. Why don't you check it out? Okay. These are just paper copies of it. Pretty good, I think.
Thank you.
Hope you'll find it interesting and it's informative out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Council comments? Start on then Ms. DeStacy. Do you have any comments?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My comments tonight, well, first I would like to congratulate Kristen Wheaton and Ed DeYoung for being appointed to the MUA, and Mike, good luck on your new appointment. With regard to 2364, which was voted on tonight for the fire department equipment, I have forwarded to Donnell and to the fire commissioners a program that I came across on the internet that's sponsored by DuPont. 52 turnout gear and helmets are awarded annually to fire departments. 4 given out every month. And the application deadline is June 1st. And I believe that it was well received by our fire departments. And it's interesting to note that recently Hamburg and Riverdale both received these grants in the last couple of years. So I wish our fire departments good luck and hope they receive their share. Now, with regard to my vote last week on the resolution that was supporting the location on Maple Grange for the cannabis manufacturing site, it was with my understanding of town code, it was my intention to abstain as my way of not showing support for something that I do not believe in. At the same time, not voting no, because there was no legal grounds to vote no. It would have ended up in a lawsuit costing our town a lot more money than approving it. So by abstaining, I allowed the yes vote to go through to approve it, but I also made it clear that I'm not in favor of this. It should be remembered that this and council, as well as any future council, must abide by the ordinance that was approved in July of 21 by the originating council. It is now town code and it must be abided by. Unless it is amended or appealed, it is now the law. To expect any one council person or member to stop the process without legal recourse is absurd and unrealistic. I agree with the mayor. I hope that all of I'll use the term 32 people that attended the Zoom meeting last night do come to the public meeting that we are scheduling for correct information to be given out. So let's get the public involved and let's get out and ask the questions. So now I will say, I hope everybody has a great presidential 3-day weekend and hope to see you in March at that meeting. Thank you.
Ardo?
First, I'd like to ask the mayor when the council is expected to see the first iteration of the budget.
Working on it now. We will meet the deadline. That's not an exact answer to you.
What's the deadline?
February 27th.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, I'd just like to echo those comments made by Councilman Rizzuto and Mrs. Palladini about Mr. McGowan. I had the honor and a privilege, and it was an honor and a privilege to serve with him. Not as long as what Mr. Rizzuto did, but I did serve with Mr. McGowan for 5 years on the board, and he lived and breathed Vernon Township schools nonstop. Mr. Rizzuto was not exaggerating when he said he was a daily fixture at any of the high school events, 5 days a week, a lot of times with Mr. Hughes by his side, braving the elements that we know Vernon Township High School yields sometimes with its weather. So he will be sorely missed. He was an outstanding person, and to say that he was a influential person in Vernon schools is a complete understatement. Not only was he the longest serving board member in Vernon, but I believe when he retired in 2016, it was discovered that he was the longest serving board member in all of New Jersey. And that's something to be extremely proud of. So Rest in peace, John.
Brad? Mr. Rizzuto?
No comment.
No comments? I just have some quick comments. I
So
did,
do I.
oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I
That's okay.
apologize. I apologize.
That's okay.
You have any
I'm
comments,
dissed by a
Joe?
lot of people, so I'm used to it.
No, you're not sitting right here.
And you know, your face isn't up there either, Joe.
Yeah.
You're lucky about that. That's the lucky part of it. I just wanted to say about John McGowan. I didn't know him half as long as Pat. For those who didn't know, he was a Vietnam veteran. He served in combat. He had the combat action ribbon. He was all about being a volunteer in military as well as being in town. One of the longest volunteers in the town. He will be sorely missed. And we had some really lively debates, him and I. And I just wanted to say that. And I also wanted to thank Ms. Palladini for giving a shot and at least presenting us with a possible grant situation. And I hope that she rethinks what she said and continues to try to assist the town in her specialty, which is grants. That's all I got.
Thank you, and enjoy where you are. I did not know Mr. McGowan, but Vernon is definitely lucky to have volunteers like him. Hearing about him from people that did know him. So I do will keep his family in my thoughts and prayers during this time. I did want to mention we do have alternate one position for the MUA available. So we did post on the website that we are accepting letters of interest. Marcy, what is the cutoff date for that?
I believe it's February 21st.
February 21st. So if any members of the community are interested in being considered for that position, you can go to the website and send your interest over to the clerk, and then we'll be able to potentially fill that spot. And that's all I have. Nothing else. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
By Mr. Sparta. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rizzuto. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's it. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Meeting, Emily?
Sorry, what?